from Terry Henney a couple of times down at the Saginaw Farmers Market opening up today. And later on, we will hear from Lieutenant Kim Vetter of the Michigan State Police. She'll be talking about the Click It or Ticket program. But we begin by chatting with the head of the Midland Business Alliance. And we say good morning to Tony Stamas. Tony, good morning.
Good morning, Art. Great to be with you.
Good to have you with us. So let me start out with an overall question. What's new with the Midland Business Alliance?
Yeah, it's always a busy time. It's exciting. Summer's coming. The weather, not necessarily showing that today, but it's coming as we look forward. We were out to that end Saturday morning with Midland Blooms, and that's always one of my favorite events. We had 600 volunteers and did about 45,000 pink petunias along Eastman Avenue that will be there throughout the summer and, for the Dow Championship. And it's just such a great, we partner with the city of the Midland on it, and just to see so many people of all ages out there. And I always tell people, we're out there first thing in the Saturday morning, and if you sleep until 10:30, we're gone by then. We're done. And so it's just a wonderful, wonderful community event. And in a lot of ways, we think kind of helps kick off the summer along with our farmers market, which is now going every Wednesday and Saturday as well.
I know you folks are involved in the resolution of flooding and trying to limit the impact of flooding. How is that going?
Really well. It's as much as you want quick solutions, it's something that takes time, but we've had just a tremendous partnership with the Army Corps of Engineers on this. And, we kind of did the first step of this, working to get the information, what they call a hydrological study, which is completed, and now we're moving into the general investigation study. And they have been tremendous partners. We're working the Midland Business Alliance with the city of Midland and the county of Midland, just looking at long-term solutions to build flood resiliency and what are some of the key things that we can do. There's no one magic fix for it, but what are some solutions that we can do over the long term? That's going well. And at the same time, trying to deal with, what are some immediate things we can do? And, we were working with our state legislators. We were able to get money appropriated that's really going to go into the city of Midland and ARPA dollars, so it has to be spent in a pretty narrow time frame. They're really going to improve infrastructure issues as well, getting some dollars appropriated, working with our congressional delegation to look at debris removal. So lots of different pieces to that. But it's going really well. We're going to continue to push forward on that because we think, that's going to be an ongoing legacy for decades ahead for Midland, but even the broader region in terms of, building some long-term resiliency.
And how long before you can say, hey, we've done it?
Well, I think, with the Army Corps of Engineers, you're going to be looking at, towards the end of the decade before you would looking at appropriations for specific projects and then how long those would take. But we're pushing forward with that. And like I said, they've been tremendous partners, but we're also looking at doing pieces like the city is going to invest $25 million that they've appropriated to improve infrastructure, along with dollars they've been doing already committed to their system. We're looking at debris removal both throughout the county, working with the county drain commissioner. So kind of a multi-layered approach. We want to be working right now on solutions, but we also know that some of these are going to take years to really get them put into place and to secure the needed funding.
So let's hope for no major flooding between now and then.
That would be the hope, but we know the rain's going to come, as evidenced by looking outside the window today.
Yeah, well, this rain isn't going to flood us, though, so that's good news.
No, that is I'm grateful for that.
And I know you guys don't have a part in it, but how are the Four Lakes people doing in restoring the dams and getting those lakes back?
Yeah, it's exciting. They're moving forward. With a couple of weeks back, the Michigan Supreme Court ruled that the process they had put in place was correct, and so they're able to go forward with the assessment district that they'd put in place. So I think they're really moving forward. They've got the framework there, and I think we're looking in the upcoming years to seeing those lakes restored, which is just going to be tremendous for all of the communities, again, for the region, for the people along there. And so that's exciting. Just give them all the credit in the world for that effort, because that's been a monumental task. But they're moving forward on that, and I think some time to go yet, but really it's on the horizon, and that's really exciting and a credit to all their work.
Another question, with all the uncertainty with tariffs and all the discussion about that, how's the business climate in Midland these days?
I think it's strong, but there is. I mean, I think everybody's trying to evaluate, okay, what's that mean in terms of, whether it's a large corporation or a small business? What's that mean in terms of our cost, in terms of operating? You always look at, okay, what are the challenges and then what are the opportunities there? So I think it's still strong. We still, as we're talking to our partners, they feel confident, but they're all trying to make sure they've got an accurate eye on the landscape. And it seems like every day it's changing a little bit, which is probably not uncommon, but maybe to a higher degree than some have seen in the past. Yeah. But I think so far, it's very positive. I think we'll continue to see investment and growth, and that's exciting for our community.
Let's talk about the Business Alliance for a minute, because you've blended multiple organizations into one. What's under the umbrella of the Midland Business Alliance?
Right. Yeah. No, what they did was about 8 years ago or so, community leaders came together and said, look, the core mission of what was then the Midland Chamber and the Midland Tomorrow Economic Development is the same. We're here to help businesses, to grow businesses, to attract businesses. And so brought the organization together along with CBM, which has been around for over 100 years, and MITCON, that helps a lot of nonprofits with tech support, and brought us under one umbrella and one physical building. And I always note that, when you kind of get to events where there's no game plan sitting on your desk, like a global pandemic or a dam breach, it's kind of all hands on deck. And I think it really was a proof of concept that we were just, you may have different functions that you do in terms of those relative roles of economic development as a chamber, but it was just very focused on how do we help our businesses survive this, navigate this. And I think it was and that's what we try and do every day is, okay, how do we help businesses? And that means that we're working with Housing Forward. We know that as a community, if we can help developers in what we would call the attainable workforce housing space, that's going to help us across the whole spectrum and grow jobs and grow our community.
And as you look back at it and how the organization was formed, did the goals follow? I mean, has it done what you expected it to do?
I really think it has. I think, we've been, sometimes you're kind of looking at it saying, okay, what's our capacity? Because I think people look to us as really being, one of those places where when we're looking at addressing issues like housing, like talent, and, we've got some amazing partners, working with the Community Foundation on housing, with the Strosacker Foundation, working with all of our partners here in the community. But I think it has. I think it's kind of met that. And as we kind of go forward every day with new opportunities to do that and, kind of look for solutions. So I think the vision that they had, which is really to their credit, was, okay, how do we make sure that we don't need to duplicate efforts, and we need to make sure that we're making, if we've got people supporting in terms of communications, in terms of how can we do that across the board. And I think that we're excited because we see that happening on a daily basis.
Well, you mentioned that magic word, housing, and the reason I bring it up is you've got Corning coming in looking for 1,500 employees.
Right.
Hemlock Semiconductors looking for a couple of hundred. SK Siltron in Bay City for a couple of hundred. To say nothing of the big corporations you have sitting in Midland.
Right.
First, where are we going to find these people, and then where are we going to house them?
Yeah, I think that it's multifaceted in terms of talent, making sure we're telling our story, and we do that in lots of different ways so that people know the exciting opportunities. And you want to keep the people home that are here. When you're in high school, you always kind of look off to that distant opportunity. But I think many times people realize, okay, this is a great place to live and to grow up, and they want to have the same experience. So we need to make sure we connect them with the jobs and the opportunities. And it's across that. It's people switching careers. It's people finishing one career. We've kind of trying to look at it really across the whole spectrum from the talent end. I think in housing, what we've been focusing on is, like I said, the workforce housing. We've got some wonderful folks around the region and the community that work in the affordable area, and they partner with be it MISHDA or HUD on that. But that spot there about workforce housing, how can we make sure, I think developers will go in that space, but they have to make sure they can make the business case. And that's what, Jen Acosta's led that, working with Nicole Wilson on our team. How do we make sure that, they can make a capital stack that makes it, that they've got to run their businesses, and how can we do that? And that, that'll have a domino effect. If we can help in that area, there'll be people in the affordable that will move up into the attainable housing, and others that might even move up more. And then there'll be people who are probably in the higher end who don't need that place, and they're going to move back into that. And I think if we can do that, and it's a challenge that we see across the region, across, frankly, the state and the country. But if we can do that and, even marginally better and hopefully significantly better than some of our other folks around the state, I think it'll give us a huge advantage.
I would have to guess that a lot of the new workforce housing is going to be either apartments or condos at the cost of building an individual house today at $300 a square and up. It only makes sense.
Yeah, I think, people say, what kind of housing do we need? And my answer is yes. We need it across the whole spectrum. But, I think some of it is also looking at housing differently in terms of household size. And I think, we're going to, coming up here in the next few weeks, going to have a regional housing study and update from 2018. And I think that's really going to be telling in terms of what the housing needs look like. I think some of it will affirm things that we already know, and I think some of it will give us some insights that'll be really helpful.
Coming into the eventually warmer weather, don't look outside today, but right. Coming into the season, and downtown Midland usually closes down a couple of streets for pedestrians. Going to happen again this year?
It is. In a couple of weeks, the art fair will kind of kick that off downtown Midland, and then it'll be closed off for the next few months. We'll have concerts and events and activities in downtown, which is just a wonderful time and such a great setting. And so, you come down there on a Friday night, and you got a couple thousand people, and they're bringing their lawn chairs out and getting food at a local restaurant and drinks and listening to great live music. So it's a wonderful setting, and we're really looking forward to it. It kind of leads right into the Dow Championship, which is coming up, and just such an amazing event at the end of June. And then it's going to be a full summer. The Loons are in town for the 4th of July, and so we'll have Americana. We'll have baseball and fireworks, and I'm sure apple pie right along with
absolutely.
It. And so it sets up for a fun summer.
And for your family, a slice of pizza wouldn't be bad either.
Well, we strongly favor that.
Tony, listen, I'm going to let you go, but always appreciate chatting with you. We'll do it again.
Thanks, Art. Always great to be with you.
All righty. Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Tony Stamas, he is the head of the Midland Business Alliance. We thank him for joining us. Speaking of joining us right now, Terry Henney is out and about. He is at the opening of the downtown Saginaw Farmers Market for Frankenmuth Credit Union.
Wet morning, but what a great day. The sun is shining, not really, but underneath the pavilion here at the downtown Saginaw Farmers Market. Shelley Harrell, it's great to have another season.
Absolutely. 2025 looks to be fruitful for everyone. The weather has cooperated mostly for us farmers, and things are going in the ground, and we're getting really excited about the growth. And if you stop down today, you're going to find lots of plants, vegetable plants, tomatoes, peppers, some herbs. You're also going to find some hanging flowers and that type of thing. We have a popcorn vendor today. They're returning from last season. We've got a few bakeries here today, home bakeries, so get some goodies while you're here. And a couple of returning vendors with all of those staples like the quilted items and jams and jellies with us today. A couple of farm fresh eggs. So there are things to look at, things to talk about, and things to buy at the market.
10 until 3 today, and Shelley, it's going to be a busy schedule for the year. So if people want to find out more, all they've got to do is go to the Downtown Saginaw Farmers Market Facebook and get all the information.
Yeah, Facebook, and our website also has lots of good information on there about future events and all that good stuff. And we hope to have everybody's smiling face. Come on through and say hi and give us a chat because we look forward to our community.
There you go. A lot more coming up as we broadcast today, opening day of the Downtown Saginaw Farmers Market.
Switch it up and ride into
All right, welcome back. The Art Lewis Show for this Wednesday. Kind of a damp one. Kind of a damp one, to say the least. But it's Michigan. Wait till next week. It'll be nice. We are expecting to hear from State Police Lieutenant Kim Vetter about the Click It or Ticket campaign. Till then, open phones for you, 989-752-6111, the number to call for whatever you'd like to chat about. Again, 989-752-6111. Some things in the news, and I find this one interesting. And I have to say, we're going to talk about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez for a minute, which is from my neck of the woods in the Bronx, New York. Of course, I had no idea who she was till she ran for office, but she has now become, at least in a survey, to some, the face of the Democratic Party. There was a survey done recently, and there were 1,462 likely voters surveyed. 26% identified AOC as the face of the Democratic Party. Another 26% said there is no one currently leading the party, and 22% chose other. And she was ahead of other Democrats, including Bernie Sanders, Jasmine Crockett, and then in fourth place, Kamala Harris with 6%, Pete Buttigieg with 5%, Hakeem Jeffries with 5%, Cory Booker with 4%, and Gavin Newsom brings up the back with 2%. And this is just an observation. I don't have any inside track, but there is no consensus, and people have said the Democratic Party right now may be rudderless. I wouldn't rest on that laurel because the voters will decide what's rudderless and what's not. I would say this, though, that I don't believe, and this is just my personal view, that Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez could be the face of the party in a presidential race. Now, she could be. Don't get me wrong. She can run. Nothing preventing her from running. But I am not sure that the moderate wing of the Democratic Party, which is a significant slice of the party, is ready for the ultra-progressive views put forth by AOC and Bernie Sanders and some others. And you can almost guarantee that we'll get zero support from the right side of the aisle and right moderates. but I don't think they would have the support of centrist Democrats. And I am convinced in this country, if you are going to win a presidency, you have to attract the huge middle population in this country. Not the far left, not the far right, but the middle where most people live. And I just don't believe she can do that. Now, again, that's strictly my observation. It has nothing to do with any kind of reality, any kind of noted survey. It's just my feeling about it. So take it for what it's worth. We're going to take a break. Come back. We'll get to our phones. How was your sleep last night? You know, we're asked to do more for less these days, so when you go to bed and spend a third of your life there, you need quality sleep, and you can get it with a quality mattress from Sanitary Mattress. Now, you can visit all the so-called sleep stores, or you can rest assured the mattress you're using is manufactured right here in the Great Lakes Bay region to your specifications. Your dollars are spent and they stay right here in our local economy. Your time in bed may be cut short by today's demanding world, but don't be fooled. You can still get a quality good night's sleep on a Sanitary Mattress. And by the way, they feature 1-hour window delivery of your mattress to your home. If you have an RV or a boat, Sanitary Mattress will custom make a mattress for you, something the box stores can't do. Visit the Sanitary Mattress Factory and Showroom, serving this area since 1935. Set your GPS to 5343 James Road in Saginaw, just east of the Harry Brown Airport, or visit them on the web at sanitarymattress.com, or finally call them at 989-753-1757.
This is Joe Cordell of Cordell and
Well, it is WSGW. And yes, it is the Art Lewis Show. I had to step away for a moment. Things we have to take care of here sometimes, and I'm going to step in. This is Charlie Rude. I'm just doing his open lines right now. And we'll continue doing that. And I think we do have a caller holding. Paul in Saginaw. I know you're expecting Art, but I'm going to step in and take your call to give you a chance to tell us what's going on. Paul, what's on your mind today, sir?
Yeah, Charlie.
Hey.
Actually, two names that Art failed to mention is the two governors. One, Josh Shapiro, Pennsylvania, and our own governor in Michigan here, as well as Kamala Harris. I think if all three of them start talking solutions to issues, I think all three of them can be dangerous in the polls. What do you think?
Wow. I haven't been paying attention to the polls or the possibilities, to tell you the truth, Paul.
Well, all three of them, in my opinion, but they got to talk solutions to issues. Kamala, she never really talked issues or solutions to issues. She just went on her personality and her track record and this and that, and she got quite a few votes. But if she talked solutions to current issues, so I think her and the other two can be dangerous.
So pick up on that. So what would the issue be that you think? What is it that you would say, here is what you have to talk about?
Well, you've got the economy, you've got the budget, you've got spending, you got taxes. I mean, you can go on and on and on. You got to start talking issues, and you got to come up with some solutions to issues.
Well,
and there's one issue that I am passionate about that I'd like to see Trump talk about, is replacing the Federal Reserve with fee-based loans, origination fee loans and late fee loans, and high-risk loans, 1% for small amounts, 2% for big amounts, and that might trigger the economy a little better. But because these monthly compound interest loans, on mortgages, and you got high interest credit cards, those discourage people. I mean, they 6.8% mortgage. Who's going to want to buy a house when it's that high? And 22% interest on credit cards. I mean, that's pretty high too. It gets kind of discouraging at times. So
yeah, well, what I find interesting is, I'm just going to say, is that the issues you're talking about, how often have those been talked about, and for how long? As long as I can remember, the percentages, the numbers you talked about may have changed a little bit, but there's always, using your discussion about the economy, I mean, that's always an issue. It's just a matter of
right.
Even when the economy are going good, there's always going to be somebody that says, "Hey, we can do better." And if there's a struggle or there's a downturn, then obviously that's going to be the pocketbook. It always seems to come down to the pocketbook. No matter many times there's another issue that might be in the forefront, the pocketbook is always going to be one that people are going to relate to.
Absolutely, and you hit the nail right on the head. So
if you can figure out a solution to that, Paul, let me know.
Right. Well, like I said, replace the Federal Reserve, because they print all this counterfeit funny money out of thin air. That lowers the purchasing power of the money we got in our pockets right now. We got to do something about that Federal Reserve. When President Wilson signed it in 1913, one of the first things he said after he signed that bill is, "I have ruined my country. I should not have done this." And it's it's come home to roost, and it's just look at the prices of homes and cars, how they've skyrocketed. I mean, it's totally ridiculous. Hundreds of thousands to build a house, and you're talking 50,000-60,000 to buy a car. It's totally crazy, and doesn't seem to be getting any better. It looks like it's going to keep continuing going up.
Well, rarely does it come down. That's the
right.
Only thing that would make it more affordable, as you just mentioned. I mean, let's face it. Many people remember when the interest rates were down at even 3% in some cases for like a home loan and things like that. That was several years ago, I know. Although there are some who remember back into the 70s, early 80s. Remember what interest rates were at that time. So
that's when it was 17% back then, when Jimmy Carter was in there.
Exactly, and there was your pocketbook issue at that time.
Right.
Well, we'll keep those names in mind and the issues in mind, Paul.
All righty. Thank you, Charlie.
Oh, I appreciate it, and thanks for conversation and putting up with me here doing that conversation. Again, as I'm sitting in for Art Lewis here for a moment at WSW, we got to take a break and come back. I think we might even have an update from Terry Henney, who's doing his broadcast from the Farmers Market in downtown Saginaw. As it's preparing an opening day, sure sign of spring and summer. That's one of the things that we always look forward to. We'll get into that in just a moment on WSGW.
Are you having trouble?
The downtown Saginaw Farmers Market opening day. Along with me is
Marissa Loringer, the market manager.
And you've got a busy day out here, opening day. Quite frankly, if somebody wants to come out, they can buy some really nice stuff. All you got to do is get your umbrella and rain gear, and you're ready to go.
Yeah, it's really great. We've got lots of bakers. We've got lots of farmers here with plants for your garden starting in the spring. We've got soup mixes. It's a good mix of stuff. We got some flowers as well.
Now, as far as scheduling goes for the year, obviously people can go to the Facebook.
Yes.
But for right now, we're talking what? Wednesdays and Fridays?
Wednesdays and Fridays, 10 to 3, and then we've got our Saturdays, 10 to 1.
Now, will you be open this Saturday, Memorial Day weekend?
Yes, we will, and we hope everyone comes down and gets their stuff ready for their barbecue this weekend.
Yeah. The hours are, well, weekdays 10 to 3, and then what about Saturday?
10 to 1.
Okay. So for more information, as we said, you can go to the Facebook. Marissa, thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
All right, Terry, and we'll wait for you on your farm show. Thanks to Charlie for sitting in for a couple of minutes. Coming up, the Click It or Ticket enforcement campaign, and to talk about